And there are different kinds of ice. Like there's the dark blue ice, then there's that more aerated ice.
Yeah, totally.
And I would assume that the dark blue ice not only takes longer to form, but also would weigh significantly more.
Yeah. And so most of the glaciers and ice sheets are actually formed of that dark blue ice. That is the kind of like, that is the look of a glacier. It only gets aerated and bubbly and lower density up on the surface. And so that's kind of it's sort of a funny thing, because like you think like, well, I know that ice is supposed to be like dark blue and hard and solid, but yet every time I see a picture of a glacier, it looks white.
Yeah.
And so that whiteness is just the sort of the melting and the kind of the sort of the starting to kind of the dissolution and the breakdown of that glacier. And so more air is getting in there, more air bubbles are getting in there. And all of the faces of those air bubbles end up reflecting and scattering sunlight, and they scatter all wavelengths, really? And so it looks white.
Oh, interesting. So that's why it's white, not just because it's less concentrated.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And if you ever see an iceberg calf, which I'm sure you have, it flips over and it's a deeper blue.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And you can see that, and when you see that deeper blue or those darker colors, then you're like, okay, this is ice that has never seen sunlight. And, give it another, couple of hours or something like that, and that dark blue will end up looking white as it starts to melt and kind of cracks get
It's
into
that
it.
fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty wild. And then, yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of places on Earth, like, for instance, the Grand Canyon, which kind of looks like it's been carved out by a glacier, or at least something of that size, strength, power.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, so I believe in the flood.
Uh-huh.
But is there explanation that like a glacier could have caused that as well?
Yeah. There's no sign of a glacier. So glaciers end up making actually sort of U-shaped valleys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They have a very characteristic look where that has steep mountain walls, which certainly the Grand Canyon has, but then sort of a broad, flat floor. And that is sort of the classic look of a glacial landscape.
Is it anything like a fjord, like in Norway or?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So all of the fjords are glacially carved, and so those are glaciers that were carving out below sea level, and those glaciers were grinding against the rock and mud even below sea level, and then the glaciers melted, leaving behind fjords.
Yes, and a lot of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So, and they also make sounds.
Yeah.
Is that right? Glaciers make sounds?
Yeah.
Because I've heard, I love watching these videos on the internet of the guys who go in the glaciers in like Iceland, and you can like the carved like geometrically shaped dark blue ice all around them.
Yeah,
in the caves.
Yeah, exactly.
Dripping, and it makes weird sounds. What's happening there?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean they can move. They make a lot of different kinds of sounds. They make there's the sound of the cracking ice. There's the sound of sort of echoes. If you're in an ice cave, there's the sound of the rushing water underneath the glacier. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different. I'm not sure exactly which sounds you're referring to.
Yeah, I think the ones I've heard most are like it's like a ping.
Okay.
It's like it's almost like you're flicking a rock across the surface of a pond or something.
Yeah, I know there are some apparently if you drill an ice core and you have this very deep hole, then you drop a little chip of something down that hole, and it makes what sounds to me almost like a laser cartoon, like pew pew pew.
I think that's the sound I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's bizarre. It feels like a like a sci-fi sound effect.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fascinating.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically the echoes. It's just all of those echoes.
Yeah. And there's like 70% of the world's fresh water is in glaciers.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Or maybe even more.
I think it might be over 90. I don't know, but it's like
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Is there ever going to be a point where potentially we mine those glaciers for that fresh water?
In a way, that's actually already happening, because there are people who live just downstream of these glaciers, in places where the climate is extremely arid. They don't get very much rain, and then they'll go months and months and months without any rain, but they live below a glacier which is always melting and always producing some water.
Got it.
And they are just reliant on that area. And so, especially around in the Andes, in the Himalaya, that the
it's like a reserve.
Yeah, exactly. They have a naturally occurring reservoir,
right?
That is just sort of forms itself and then just continuously quenches the thirst of the people that live downstream.